In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys one of the easiest trading strategies that I found, and it's also one of my two main trading strategies that have been consistently profitable over the past 5 months. What's up guys, it's Zen. Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a very juicy one. I'm going to share with you my strategy for buying breakouts. I'm going to teach you how to look for potential stocks, how to anticipate these breakouts, how to actually trade this pattern, and the logic behind how this strategy works. So make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video because every criteria is extremely important for this strategy. And I want you to fully understand the methodology behind it so that you can trade this pattern successfully and make it part of your trading toolbox. And before we jump into the video, I need you guys to smash the like button and to subscribe. These videos take a lot of time and effort, and I would really appreciate your support. So let's start by running through some basics. What is a breakout? A breakout is when a stock breaks above a key resistance level with very strong volume. And these breakouts usually have high buying momentum, and that is what we try to catch so that we can ride the upward momentum, rather than buying a stock and hoping that it goes up over time. This strategy usually happens between 9 AM to 10:30 AM or after 4 PM right before the market closes. When I trade breakouts, the average holding time is probably about 10 to 15 minutes. And that is when the buyers usually run out of steam and I start selling into the selling pressure as well. You can apply this strategy to any time frame, including the 15-minute or even the hourly time frames. But I'm going to teach you the way I do it, which is on a 1-minute and a 2-minute chart. So this is a really good example of a strong breakout. We can see that there is a lot of selling pressure around this area. Every time the price reaches around the 895 area, it seems to hit a wall of sellers which causes it to sell off non-stop. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell-offs every time it hits the area. But in this instance, we can see that there's so much volume coming in to overwhelm all the sellers around the 895 to 9 ringgit area. And when there's this many people buying, enough to overwhelm such a heavy selling pressure area, there's most likely going to be a lot more buyers waiting to get into the stock, which causes this huge momentum move all the way up to 960. So when it breaks out of the 9 ringgit area, you could enter at 9 ringgit or even 905 and catch the move all the way up for a nice 6% gain. Now, why do you think it works this way? A breakout pattern is one of the most basic technical patterns out there, and when there's enough emotional buyers to overrun all of the selling pressure at a specific resistance level, this is where technical traders come into the picture to try to catch the coming momentum. And as the technical trader continues pushing the stocks up, the emotional traders will get greedy as they see that the stock is continuing to extend its gains. So they come in again at a higher level, which continues pushing the price up even more. And that results in a very strong upward momentum that keeps on pushing the stock price up. This basic pattern plays off the fact that we are all greedy by nature. And if you know where the emotional buyers come in, you can be one step ahead of them and get on the ship before they start pushing it forward for you. There are two types of breakouts, the morning breakout and the afternoon breakout. There are also more advanced ones like wedge breakouts and bullish flags, but I don't really trade those because I don't see them happening often in our market. Morning and afternoon breakouts are very similar. They play off the momentum when the stock breaks the highest price of the day. The only difference is one happens in the morning and one happens in the afternoon. The entries and exits are marked on the chart in case you want to pause the video and analyze where I enter and exit each of these trades. So this is a morning breakout. As you can see, the stock pushes up in the morning with subpar volume, pulls back a bit, grinds all the way back up to the day high, which acts as a resistance. And when it breaks this day high resistance, the momentum carries it forward all the way up. And this is an afternoon breakout. Similar to the morning breakout, a strong morning move, this time with a lot of volume, a little bit of pullback, flat lines, consolidates, and then when it breaks the day high resistance again, you can see the same trend of the momentum pushing the stock upwards. Now, this is an example of a chart that I would not play. Even though the stock slowly grinded all the way up through the day, there was no clear momentum through the whole day. It was just slow buying and slow accumulation, which is not what I look for. I look for momentum and I want to catch highly predictable moves. And before we deep dive into a few more examples, let's talk about a few criteria that I look for when screening for potential breakout stocks. So the first criteria would be a strong bullish morning move with high volume. As you can see, G-Packet had an extremely strong morning move with a lot of volume compared to the previous days. I then look for a pullback into a consolidation where I can see its good support is building and a slow grind up back to the day high. And when it breaks the day high resistance, I want to see strong volume as well to indicate that there is a lot of people buying at this point and that the momentum is coming in. Let's look at a few examples of morning breakouts. Again, I'm looking for a bullish morning move into a pullback, consolidation, and slowly grinding back up to the day high. And as it approaches day high, I want to look for a strong increasing volume to indicate that the momentum is coming in. As you can see on Comfort, this fits all the criteria for a good morning breakout. It had a bullish opening to the morning, a bit of a pullback, and a slow grind back to day high. As you can see, the volume was increasing, and as it broke the day high, I entered the trade at 3 ringgit 40 cents and sold into the selling pressure at about 3 ringgit 56 cents. And later in the day, it did the exact same thing. So this was the morning move, pull back, and it started building a bit of support, consolidating and slowly grinding back to the day high. And as it approached day high, volume came in, setting up for another good day high breakout. So you could enter at 3 ringgit 60 cents, which is the day high, and ride the momentum all the way and sell into the selling pressure. Even though the stock continues running, my goal isn't to catch the whole move. I'm not trying to catch the bottom and the top. I'm trying to catch the most predictable part of the move, which allows me to be consistently profitable in the long term. So here's another example on HLT. HLT had a very strong morning gap up, gapping up 13%. It pulled back a bit, held around the VWAP, consolidated, and as you can see, slowly grinded its way back up to the day high. And as it approached the day high, strong volume came in, indicating that the momentum was going to come in to break the day high resistance. So the entry would be when it breaks the day high and exiting to the selling pressure. At this point, you may be asking, how do I know when the momentum is going to come in at day high? Well, by reading the order flow on wherever you buy and sell your stocks, you should be able to identify when there's a lot of buyers coming in by watching the buy side on the order book. The clear-cut entry for this pattern makes it a lot easier to know when to enter because you're just aiming for the day high as an entry point. Another morning breakout, LKL this time. Morning move, pull back, flat consolidation building support, coming back to day high with a high volume, breaking day high and letting the momentum carry us all the way up. I hope by now you're noticing some sort of a pattern in all of the charts that I've shown so far. Here's one more good example of a morning breakout. This is Pharma. It had a strong morning gap up of about 5%, continued running another 5%, pulled back near VWAP, held this level of support and consolidated while it slowly grinded all the way back up to day high again. And the volume came in, so did the momentum, breaking day high, pushing us all the way up for a nice 4% gain. You must be thinking, there's no way that it's this basic, right? But in reality, the most basic patterns are the ones that work the best. You don't need fancy lines to converge or diverge to tell you when to enter or when to exit the stock. All you need is some sort of understanding behind the logic of these moves, and then you realize that simplicity really is the key to a successful trading plan. Now let's move on to some examples of afternoon breakouts. Afternoon breakouts are usually a lot stronger than morning breakouts because they have a lot more time for the support to build and for people to accumulate their shares. As you can see on Bintai, I hope you see the pattern by now and know what to look for. A strong morning move, a pullback into a consolidation, building a support on VWAP. The slow grind up back to day high and the increasing volume as it approaches the breaking point. And as it breaks out, you can see that the momentum carries all the way up for a nice 18% move. These breakouts are usually a lot easier to catch because you have all the time in the morning to identify the morning moves and to set your alerts near the day high in anticipation for a later afternoon breakout. However, these moves don't happen so often, but when they do, the reward is usually a lot more. And this is an almost identical chart but on comfort. You can see the same build up happening, a morning move into a pullback, a consolidation building a good support, and a slow grind up back to day high. And as it approaches day high, strong volume comes in indicating that the buying momentum is here, and a strong breakout letting the momentum carry the stock all the way up. Sometimes they are not as beautiful though. For example, this chart on front can making some sort of a morning move even though it looks very choppy. A pullback into a consolidation, really strong support building throughout the day, and the volume brings it over the day high, momentum carrying it all the way up. I hope you've noticed that these charts look surprisingly similar to each other. These breakouts happen almost every other day and the setup is always the same. And this is why I think this is the easiest pattern for beginners to trade. All you need is any basic chart that you can identify the day high and look at the volume. And that will be sufficient for you to trade this pattern. Now let me share with you how I do this practically every single day. So how do I know which stock has the potential to break out? The most basic way is to find where everyone is looking. So hot sectors, hot stocks. So in the past few months, gloves and healthcare has been on fire. Any stocks that release good earnings or have good news, those stocks have a high potential to break out. So I usually do a screen the night before to identify a few stocks that I think will have a good chance of breaking out the next day, and I'll watch it in the morning. As for afternoon breakouts, I depend solely on my stock screener to look at who made a strong move in the morning and also to identify who has the highest volume in the day so far. I would then set an alert near the day high and wait for my alert to pop. So that way, all I do is spend 10 minutes in the morning to set a bunch of alerts and 5 minutes throughout the day whenever my alert pops up. So this way, I don't have to stare at the monitor for the whole day and basically trade for 5 to 10 minute windows throughout the day. Here are a few more examples of breakouts that I traded over the past few months. Please pause the video if you want to analyze each of them. The entries are marked on the charts. But of course, not all strategies work all the time. When the momentum fails to follow through, you need to have an exit plan for when the stock fails. The game is about managing your losses as much as it is trying to find winners. So risk management is probably the most important part of any trading strategy and is the key to being profitable in the long term. So you could put your stop loss quite tight near the day high, or you could trade a bit looser and place your stop loss at the nearest support level. That way you give the stock a little bit of space to pull back and continue its momentum. And another important part is to be picky with your setups. If the setups don't look like what I showed you today, do not try to trade it. Just because it broke the day high doesn't mean it's a good trade. You never know when you might get trapped. So to sum up this video, I've shared with you the criteria that I look for to anticipate a breakout on a stock, where to enter and how to exit when the stock fails, and also the logic behind why the stock continues upwards, so that you actually understand what you're trading rather than just blindly following advice. If this video has helped you in any way, please drop me a like and a subscribe. And if you know anyone who would appreciate this video, please do share it with them, as I plan to do more of these kinds of educational videos soon. And if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer it. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you've learned something today, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.